Implausible Nature now has dice. That's right, you can get these awesome D6s made by our partner Baron of Dice. These custom dice have the Implausible Nature logo on the 6 side and also come with square corners, which means they will roll more evenly than rounded corner dice. Head on over to baronofdice.com and use discount code IN40K to get a discount on your order and support us at the same time. Check out his full collection of dice for all your gaming needs with the link down in the description. Welcome to Implausible Nature, your home for all things Black Templar. On today's video, we are talking Terminators. GW just released the full Terminator datasheet along with a stratagem that they can make use of and gave us a bunch of interesting tidbits and things and on the rules. So we've got quite a lot to talk about. This is really, honestly excited. I'm really excited about this. I'm really pleased with this Terminator data sheet. We got lots to talk about. So let's get into it. So let's first take a look at the data sheet that they gave us and take a look at their stats. It's what we expect: 5-inch move, 2+ save, 3 wounds. They are toughness 5. So we had heard a lot of rumors about that. Bob and I have talked about this in the past. Terminators being toughness 5. They are indeed toughness 5, which is awesome. That's a nice durability boost for them, especially against small arms fire. There's a lot of strength 4 small arms fire out there. They have a 6+ leadership. Which we learned just the other day. When you are taking a leadership test, which is now in the command phase, you're going to roll 2d6, and the number on your leadership stat is the number to beat. Roll that or higher, so 6 plus. That's pretty good. We're going to, on average, always pass that. And then their OC, their objective control stat, we talked about that in our previous video, is just 1. So we saw intercessors are 2. They are battle line. Terminators are just 1. So just 1 model per, sort of like it is now. So that's their basic stat line. They do have a couple of abilities here on their data sheet, which we'll get into in a second. And we're also going to talk about their ranged weapons and their melee weapons. So this is the standard Terminator squad. We often refer to them as the tactical Terminators. They're basically the bolter and power fist guys. And all these weapons should look pretty much familiar to us. There's not really a ton of changes here from what we're used to seeing. Some interesting things to note as we look at this data sheet right here. The assault cannon has a special rule called devastating wounds, which GW said that they're going to get into at a later date, so we will see that. Otherwise, stat line is pretty much unchanged. It is AP 0. I believe currently assault cannons are AP 1. So drop an AP right there. Its Cyclone missile launcher, of course, does have its 2 profiles, frag and crack, where we are seeing an increase in the strength on the crack, strength 9. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same as it is now, still D6 damage. And then Heavy Flamer has ignores cover and torrent. Obviously, ignores cover is pretty self-explanatory. Torrent, we'll have to find out what that is. GW has not revealed that yet to us. But again, as we expected, it does keep its AP -1, which is pretty fantastic. And then Stormbolter is rapid fire 2. We'll get into that, the slight change to rapid fire. So the big changes here for their weapons are going to come on their melee weapons. So we're going to get into those in just a second because there's quite a bit of detail that GW went into here and a good amount of changes that we want to talk about. So aside from the melee and the abilities, Bob, what do you think so far of this characteristics, the stat lines on this Terminator squad?
So I like it. It's obviously, the as you mentioned, the melee stuff is going to be coming soon. So I like the fact that these things are built in, as we mentioned before. They're all the rules baked into the data sheet, so that's awesome. Um, the toughness 5 we've kind of talked about, off and on. That was a rumor that's going to be going through, so that's kind of nice. Leadership is pretty standard as far as that goes. The OC is something that they touched on. They're going to have the troops going to be a little bit more higher on that, so it's going to be. I feel like we're going to have to kill a lot more infantry troops to be able to hold objectives, at least with our elite units, because of uh, that lower OC count on it. But obviously, you're going to have some better weapons to be able to do so on that. One thing I did like about this data sheet is the baked in 4+ invulnerable save versus
Yeah.
the 5+, which is what we are so used to. So it makes me curious of what they're going to do with the storm shields and what that's going to kind of look like in the future. And then obviously we have a new thing here with Fury of the First, which is really interesting. Um, Ignoring all those modifiers, so it's a change from the stratagem that is currently in existence. But I like it. You're not going to have any modifiers to it. Presumably, we're going to still have something similar. Where you can't go beyond a one up or down as far as that to hit. So even so, that's still pretty nice. Um, as far as the ranged weapons, it looks like it's pretty much across the board. -1. We're continuing that trend on some of the higher level weaponry, like the
Yeah.
assault cannon went down. But
Heavy flamer stayed the same, so did the
that one
missile
did
launcher,
stay.
which is good.
Storm bolters, they're going to be pretty standard as
Hmm.
the basic DACA shots. So that's kind of important. But you have the power fist that went down in one. Or, I'm sorry, the chain fist
Yep,
went
they
down
went
in one.
down two. Chain fists were tough, or excuse me, AP4.
Yep.
They're now AP2. Power fists were AP3. They're now AP2. And interesting to note, this is the sergeant's power sword, but it says power weapon. And it is AP2 as well. So this is where we're seeing the biggest change in the weaponry is on the melee side here. So as you noticed, definitely a decrease in AP. GW specifically said they were going to reduce the lethality of the game, and that AP, they knew AP creep was one of the big culprits of that. So we're definitely seeing a reduction in the AP on this for that. And something to note here that the like I said, the power sword is really just actually called power weapon. Aside from that AP change, it is the same as the existing power sword. It does have one more attack than the other two do, which is pretty cool. I think what we're going to see here, noting that this says power weapon, is we're going to see sort of that chaos style, accursed weapons style thing where all the weapons are baked into one stat line now. Honestly, I think that's a good thing
Yep.
because modeling dudes with cool power axes and power, mauls and things like that, which were not super great weapons before. It just gives you more modeling opportunities, in my opinion. So I do like that. Um, so you'll note that the chain fist here says anti-vehicle 3 plus. GW, as we can see on the screen here, then there's a new rule that GW is doing, and it's the anti rule. What it is weapons with the anti keyword X plus on their profile are known as anti weapons each time an attack is made with such a weapon against a target with the keyword after the word. An unmodified wound roll of whatever the number is scores a critical wound. They go on to say that critical wounds are basically auto wounds. So what this means is that while the chain fist, on its face value, just looking at it, isn't as good as the power fist because it hits on a 4 up instead of a 3 up. Also, that's good to note. Power fist now hit on 3 ups. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Nice little buff to them there. The chain fists are going to automatically wound vehicles on a 3 up. regardless of their toughness. GW mentioned toughnesses is going to be going up. So I think we're going to see toughnesses above 10, things going into a 10, 11, 12 range, whereas most things were strength 8, or excuse me, tough 8 before. That wasn't going to be too much of a buff for a chain fist going from a 4 plus to a 3 plus. However, if there's stuff that's tough 10, tough 11, tough 12, we are going to see you're going to be wounding those things on 5s. So the
Yep.
chain fist auto wounding them on 3s is really good. Note that it's a wound roll, not a hit roll, so it's not like auto wounds like we see now. But that's still a pretty significant way to differentiate the chain fist from the power fist, which I think is pretty neat.
Yeah.
Um,
It did take that -1 to its damage, so there
yep,
is that on
yep.
that to think about. But it does give a little bit more oomph to wound.
Yeah. So something else that you touched on was Fury of the First. This is one of their abilities. Taking a look at their abilities on the sheet here, we're seeing core deep strike. Deep strike is back as a universal special rule. Presumably, it's what we expect from deep strike style ability in ninth edition. They have another ability called Faction Oath of Moment. GW is, as of this recording, going to reveal this next day. By the time you guys watch this, we'll probably already know what that is. So we'll see what that ability is and how it works tomorrow. Uh, as we record this. And then they have two abilities, Teleport Homer and Fury of the First. You already mentioned Fury of the First. Basically, they can ignore any and all ballistic skill or weapon skill characteristics or modifiers to their characteristic and or to the hit roll. This is replacing the stratagem of the same name, um, which gave you essentially +1 to hit. I really like this because uh, I don't know how many abilities out there in 10th are -1 to hit, but there's certainly a lot in ninth. And
Hmm.
Terminators just being able to, like, I don't care is amazing. So that's really good. And then, just in case that's not enough, it also has a further ability where each time a model in this unit makes an attack that targets an enemy unit that you've selected for the Oaths of Moment ability this turn, add 1 to the hit roll. So we'll see what that is. It sounds like something you're going to select an enemy unit every turn for your Oath of Moment ability, and you're going to get +1 to hit against it, which is really nice.
Yep.
So, and then its other ability, Teleport Homer. At the start of the battle, you can set up 1 Teleport Homer token for this unit anywhere on the battlefield that is not within your opponent's deployment zone. If you do, once per battle, you can target this unit with the Rapid Ingress stratagem for 0 CP. But when resolving that stratagem, you must set this unit up within 3 inches horizontally of that token and not within 9 inches horizontally of enemy units. That token is then removed. So we're going to get to that stratagem in just a second here. But what do you think of these two abilities, Bob?
Yeah, like I mentioned, the Fury of the First is really, really good.
Mhm.
Being able to ignore those minuses and those modifiers is going to be pretty excellent. Now, the added hit roll is going to make them even more dangerous because it doesn't specify shooting or melee, so
Yep,
you have the
everything.
ability for everything on that. So that's going to be really critical on that. It's going to make them hitting on twos against a particular unit. If you have like a chaff unit, an assault cannon, storm bolters, chaff unit's gonna die, and then you
And
have
Power Fist hitting on twos.
yeah, exactly. So that's gonna be pretty fun.
Yeah,
So combo their buff with the toughness, and you have that buff to the invulnerable save. You're gonna have a very durable unit. Now we don't know what Oath of Moment does yet, so that's a thing. But the other thing, Teleport Homer, I assume this is going to be very similar to the way it works now, based on the stratagem, which we'll get to in just one sec here, uh, and the deep striking. So, I mean, that's a very handy way uh, to be able to redeploy, which we'll talk about now. So, rapid Ingress is a stratagem for 1 CP. So when you use it, it is at the end of your movement phase. You
Your
target,
opponent's movement phase,
yes, your opponent's movement phase. Thank you.
which is crucial. That's a huge change. Well, not change, but that's a huge point of order to note. This is at the end of your opponent's movement phase.
So then the target is one unit in your army that is in reserve, and the effect is your unit can arrive on the battlefield as if it were in the reinforcement step of your movement phase. So you can't use this on a use the stratagem to enable a unit to arrive on the battlefield during a battle round. They can't normally do so. So can't skip it into turn one. That probably will be a restriction
Yeah.
continuing on. So what basically this allows you to do is, if you're using Teleport Homer, you get to do this for free
Yep.
with your Teleport Homer button. So,
And you get to come down wherever the teleport homer is. So,
yep,
what I'm assuming is that typically this stratagem is going to allow you to basically use probably something similar to what we have now with strategic reserves. So you've got a unit in reserves. It allows them to come on the board. Um, from a board edge, more than likely in your opponent's turn, which is one really good for a CP. Allows quite a bit of play for this. But the teleport homer not only makes it free, but allows you to come down where the teleport homer is, which can be essentially anywhere that's not in your opponent's deployment zone and more than 9 inches away from them. So, this could be used in a number of different ways to, screen your opponent, to plop down a Terminator unit and screw up your opponent's plans. There's a number of different ways that we can use this. And once we have the full rules and whatever, we'll obviously definitely be talking strategy for this going forward. I really like the teleport homer ability. I think it's a lot more useful than it currently is. And the ability to come down in your opponent's turn is pretty neat, even if you're using it on a different unit other than Terminators. I like this stratagem a lot. I also want to point out I really love the way this stratagem is like presented. It's gives you like specifics: when, target, effect, restrictions. Like it lays it out super duper clear,
yep,
so that way there's zero ambiguity, as far as like, well, it says, oh well, but that was, it's part of the same sentence. Like we don't have to have an English master's degree in order to understand what they're trying to
yeah,
what they're trying to tell us we can do. It literally lays it out, in bullet points with block text. Like it's great. So the format of this is excellent. They did a really great job on this, on making it clear on what's happening and when and the timing and everything like that on this. So really fantastic job as far as that.
yep. I definitely agree. So one thing else that I want to kind of point out with this is the keywords. So you see infantry, Imperium, Terminator, and Terminator Squad.
Hmm.
So it could be an interesting interaction that there's this separated the two Terminator and Terminator Squad. So there might be some interaction with some stratagems in the future with that. But also something that is missing that we are used to in ninth edition basically revolves around is there is a lack of core.
Yep.
So core is probably going to be gone because this is the second unit that or third unit in a row that they have revealed, and there's no core on any of them. So that
Yeah.
that will be a unit or a keyword that is probably going to be no longer in the game. So
There's also no chapter keyword,
yep, that's true.
which is interesting too. So that'll certainly be interesting to see how those kind of things are handled. Something that I mentioned earlier, we didn't quite touch on it yet. The Stormbolters are rapid fire 2. They're currently rapid fire 2 right now as well. But there's a change to rapid fire. So here's the new rapid fire ability. And what it does now is weapons with rapid fire X in their profile are known as rapid fire weapons. Each time such a weapon targets a unit within half of that weapon's range, the attack's characteristic of that weapon is increased by the amount denoted by X. So previously it was you double shots. You're doubling the number of shots in half
Yep.
range. Now you're just adding the number of shots from in the brackets, right? So for the storm bolters, it's effectively the same because they have two attacks and it's rapid fire two. So inside 12, they're firing four. So it is doubling. There's no, actual change for us as far as that's concerned. But it's interesting to note that other weapons may be different, right? They might be rapid fire one and they have two attacks base, so they're only getting one extra attack, right? That's something that they could do, and I don't know if we'll see that. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see, as they reveal more information. But an interesting, important change to note in how rapid fire works for that. So yeah. Um, so overall, I'm really excited about the Terminators. A marked increase in their durability, tough five, going to a four up, invulnerable, still at that 2+ save. 3 wounds. It's I'm excited about these guys. Even though like I know everyone's like, oh, what about the assault? What about the assault? We've seen
Yeah.
a lot of that on our channel. What about assault terminators? I'm sure they are coming. They are a classic iconic unit too. Um, these were the guys that were previewed in the video, the animation that we saw. More than likely, they're the ones in the box set as well. So I'm sure assault terminators are coming. It's just a matter of time, and we've always had two data sheets for two, we'll call them tactical terminators and
Yeah.
assault terminators anyway. Um, so yeah, but overall, fantastic change for these guys. Terminators, I think, finally feel as durable as they really should, especially with the AP decreases that are seeming to be happening across the board here.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing of concern with them, I feel, is like if the trend is going to be continuing with what we know as elites, that OC1 is going to be really kind of a big thing for unit sizes. So it may make facing those horde armies just a little bit harder, especially if they are, GWs keeping to their everything else is going to be, more durable, less able to kill units.
Yeah,
So so if we're unable to kill the horde unit with our 5-man unit, then it's going to be, however many units that they're doubled up OC2 on that objective, and we only have a 5-man Terminator squad that's five. It's going to be tougher. So hopefully there's ways around that, and we have enough ability to kill different units to be able to capture those objectives. But so far everything is looking pretty good, so I have faith that that's going to be the case. But it's just something to look out for, and it's going to make list building a little bit interesting. So
yep. Something I want to note regarding that is in this very same article here, GW does say, one of the core design goals of the new edition of Warhammer 40,000 is to make notably tough units tougher and allow them to withstand punishment befitting their reputation. So, I don't think we're going to see every unit gaining, aside from the AP decrease, right? I don't think we're going to see every unit gaining a ton of toughness. We didn't get the full intercessor data sheet. We only got bits and pieces of it, right?
mhm.
But just looking at their stat line, they didn't really get any durability increase aside from the AP going down in general, whereas Terminators did. They definitely got a market increase in durability. So I think the goal is that units that are supposed to be tough are going to be tougher, but chaff units like Termagants, Guardsmen, Horde Army stuff, I think is still going to be pretty, you know, susceptible to massed fire of like bolters, something like that. So um, that will be obviously we'll have to see how that pans out, but I think that's going to be something that will sort of ease the fact that Terminators only have like OC1, so they'll still be able to hose down all those Termagants with bolter fire and flamers and assault cannons and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think overall, like you mentioned, it's a great change. So I'm liking what I'm seeing with the
Mhm.
different units and data sheets so far. It's pretty clean, pretty easy to use. Probably some of the nicer. rules layout that I've seen over the many editions that I've been playing the game. So this will hopefully bring in some new players
Yep.
or have players return to the game that thought the eighth and ninth edition got really bloated. And we're already seeing kind of a little bit of a resurgence in the excitement and people bring dusting off their armies and getting some of that stuff out there. So so far so good, right?
Yep.
Just continuing the releases, and hopefully in the next couple of months we'll have a full 10th edition to be able to start doing some of these things.
Yep, absolutely. And something too to note, GW has said that at the end of this month at Warhammer Fest, they will have demos of 10th edition. So I think by the time Warhammer Fest rolls around, we will see the basic rules for these units and maybe a couple of units to be able to kind of pick apart and see how the game is going to play. So yeah, so
Yeah,
we'll look forward to
Warhammer
that.
Plus.
Yep. We're going to be definitely trying to cover that as much as possible. So if you're headed to Warhammer Fest this year, let us know. We'd love to talk to you about your experience demoing 10th edition. So um, that's all we have for you guys today. What do you let us know down in the comments? What do you think of this Terminator data sheet and the rules that they previewed here? Um, we're really excited about it. We want to hear your thoughts. Are you looking forward to this? So let us know down in the comments. Also, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and like the video and hit that bell notification so you can get notified on all of our latest content. Check out our Discord. We have a ton of great discussion going on every day. Lots of great folks in there providing tips and tricks and whatever you need for your Black Templars. Also, check out our Patreon. We have a great Patreon with lots of great benefits, lots of really cool stuff coming for our Patreon. We have Patreon exclusive dice from Baron of Dice in the works right now. So we'll be talking about those as soon as those are ready. I'm really excited to show you guys this design. It's really, really cool. So um, come check us out. And until next time, keep on crusading.